DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another AMA with the DeFi Kingdoms team. It is lovely, as always, to be here with all of you fine folks. We are going to kick things off with a couple of updates and then roll into the questions of the week. But first, Dreamer, how are you doing today?
Oh, man. I didn't think about this before of how I was going to answer how I was doing. So I'm just going to say I'm going to lead off with saying I'm bullish. I know we're supposed to do it at the end, but Bolin, I'm feeling bullish. I'm feeling super bullish.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. Hubert, how are you doing today?
Now I think we all need to say that we're feeling bullish. I can't step down from that.
The challenge has gone out.
Yeah, beyond that, pretty good. I got a decent amount of sleep last night for once, which is odd. So I feel pretty good today.
Nice. Lucky you. For the record, I'm also feeling bullish. But Winston, how are you doing today? And who are you fighting? Winston, if you are talking, we cannot hear you.
Maybe he's talking with his hands.
Ooh, there it is.
Hey.
I'll just repeat myself. I guess probably the best thing to do. Thanks, Bolon. I'm good. I appreciate you asking. It's such a fun tradition that we check in and see how everybody's doing. And I think I'm doing okay. I went up last weekend and there's this is like, it's not that funny of a story, but I can tell it so that it's funny. There's a Provo Canyon is like a big canyon with a big river going through it. And it's like, not like, I mean, it's like a canyon. So it's like there's trees and not a lot of off ramps. And it's like 20-25 miles long. And like right in the middle of it is Provo River Resort. And like, that sounds pretty tight, that it's a trailer park. It's a trailer park that's 15 miles up Provo Canyon. And a lot of people there that don't have cars. I don't know how they live because it's like there's 10 miles in either direction. There's nothing but mountains and trees. And for someone who was going up there to see the leaves changing color, like it was perfect for me. But there were definitely some characters, a couple of characters. The guy across from me named Ken. He didn't have a car. He loaned me some firewood and was like, I live over there if you need anything, and nice big nice big trailer that looked like it hadn't been moved in 2 or 3 years. But yeah, I digress. The leaves were beautiful. I had a wonderful trip. And today I'm actually fighting Hope, aka street name Just Have Fun. We're doing 2 bouts, a level 15 and a level 20. They are both sponsored by myself. And get in there and vote. I mean, we're at about 50 million on this is math. So I think this is over 50 million, actually, if I'm branding it right. So that's great. 100 million influence-ish.
52 million, actually.
What?
That's over 52 million, actually. Even 53. It's over 53 million.
Done? You done, Bolon?
That one's
mathing me out. Big league in me or something here. Come on. I'm playing. Everybody knows. I'm just playing. Ken, dude, he was a great guy. I mean, he's living a simple life in a trailer park. And I'm, there's moments of jealousy with that. Like, it'd be nice to just walk out to the river. And like, because the river out there in most spots is only like knee to waist deep. So there's like dudes out there fishing and, the bubbling and bobbling of the sound of a river is just delightful. So, yep. Fighting Hope, you got 3.5 minutes for the first one, and then about 20-ish. I'm actually going to say about 17-ish minutes, just so that people get in there. They don't wait. It's a great river for tubing. That's true. There's another river out here that's good that is good for tubing. and I boloned out hard there for a second. You guys, I said fur, like fur, not four. That's crazy. Sorry, bolon. But there's another one called the Weber River that you can float, and that one is treacherous. You have to like go under the freeway, and it's treacherous, you know. So you definitely one of those life jacket floats. You're gonna wanna have some PPE for that. Just like, you know, whatever. All right, you got 17 minutes and like 2 minutes to vote on these. I'm gonna fire it back over to you, Bolon. I'm gonna do some Taco Bell research for later, just in case. You never know, anything could happen. And back to you.
But have you ever gone tubing on the Chattahoochee?
Is this like a D's nuts joke?
No, it's a river. It's called the Chattahoochee. There's a song about it.
I'm not taking the bait. You just tell your story.
No, there's no story. It was just a question. It's a great river to tube on. Genuinely, there's also a country song by Alan Jackson about the Chattahoochee. Just curious.
I'm pretty sure you're lying, but I guess I'm gonna fall for it. No, I never. Nope.
It's really not. That's it. There's no punchline coming.
All right. Okay. No, I haven't.
Yeah, there's no punchline. It's legitimately a thing. You can go after we finish streaming on YouTube. You can go on YouTube and look up the song by Alan Jackson about the Chattahoochee River, which you can still also go tubing on. It's in like Tennessee and Georgia. Anyway, Winston's going to be waiting for the next like 30 minutes for me to circle back to this somehow being a punchline. And it's fantastic because it's actually not.
Look, I got a complaint. Can I give a complaint?
There you go. He's doing his research. You even got Heat in the chat confirming. What's your complaint, Dreamer? Let's go.
Why is Winston your favorite? Hubert and I got 10 seconds and you cut us off, and then just Winston's yapping and going off about all these trailer parks and rivers, and we're just over here. It's not even important. I don't get it.
You gotta take it.
You gotta launch into the story.
I'm taking it.
Dreamer, all right. Well, now it's back to you for story time. I hope you got something.
Really, really quick. Can we just discuss that he is water skiing in jeans?
And a cowboy hat, yeah.
I mean, the cowboy hat, yeah, that's impressive. But the jeans, like, wow, that's something.
Welcome to the South. Dreamer, story time. Let's go. What's up? What's going on? What did you do last?
I got no stories. I got 0 stories because now I'm just mad about it. I'm gonna be grumpy. But I do have some updates. You want me to give an update?
I want to hear what you did last weekend first. I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, we need a story first.
It's classified.
Tell Star Wars, dude. Just tell the story of Star Wars really quick.
I'll give one personal update. I'm not a big fan on personal updates, but I'll give one. I turned 40 later this year. And in January, I was the heaviest I've ever been and the most unhealthy I've ever been. Shout out to anybody looking at your health. Look after yourself, guys. So we pay attention to this space, which is very stressful, and a lot of people that are illogical and throw silly opinions sometimes that look past logic and hard work that make us feel bad can affect your health. So I'm down about 44 pounds since January.
Nice.
And
That's awesome.
I wanted to lose 40 pounds before I turned 40, and I've been holding it for the last month or so. No, nothing crazy. No, whatever that pill is, that Olympic pill or whatever. Not doing that.
Ozempic or something.
Just trying to have routine and sleep. When I was traveling last year, literally almost every weekend, and on planes and no sleep and killing myself to try to get things going and deals and everything, I literally almost killed myself. So that's my update. I'm feeling healthier. I'm feeling lighter. I'm feeling like we got so many more years to build in this simulation that we're in.
We are all in a simulation. There's no doubt about that. Before we go into whatever update you had as well, Hubert, any story you want to share?
I guess I have to share something. So I live pretty close to a hospital, and they have like a helipad and get life flights to it. And for some reason, I guess they decided to train, or I don't know what was going on, but there was one helicopter like at 10:40 at night that just kept like maybe landing or just hovering at the hospital. I'm not sure what it was doing, but it would like go and then start flying and like fly pretty close to our house and then like turn around and then go back to where it was at the hospital again. It did like 4 or 5 times, and it got our son super excited. He was still awake. We were trying to get him to go to bed right before that, but like he was so excited. We went outside and was watching it, and he just like he can't say helicopter. He says like hopita. And he was just hopita 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 hopita. He just kept saying it. And then as soon as he woke up this morning, he just hopita 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 hopita. And that's my story.
It was a great story. I enjoyed that story. All right, Dreamer, back to you. The non-personal update, whatever it was. If you want to give it now, let's do it.
I just want to say there's some juicy things cooking up. We had a good week this week on some of the progress with that, and some meetings that went very well, that I'm excited to see, what direction it takes the game and our user acquisition efforts and efforts to kind of lower barriers to entry. Just really excited there. So very cryptic answer, but just wanted to report, like, sometimes we have lulls and things that move. Sometimes we have a little bit of progress. We're not hitting like a huge amping up massive progress, but there are some things that are looking really good, and I think that you guys are gonna like. Outside of that, it seems like community's always active. You guys are playing, you guys are thinking, asking questions, sometimes complaining, but with a good intent. Since we all love the game, we welcome all of it, and sometimes you guys are building. So I just want to give a shout out over there to DFK Helper. I don't know all the details, I haven't looked at it, but I saw some people tweeting about new features there. Whether or not there are features in main game or other, we really appreciate when people build. Fox and original team back in the day emphasized, like, take what we build and build on top of it. And some people have really committed to that. So we appreciate all the community builders, and people trying to build in this space. Not a lot of people in crypto do that. We have a good core team that does it, and we have an amazing community that does. So shout out to you guys, not only for playing, but trying to make it better, ask the good questions, have the good difference of opinion, and being respectful, and trying to win together. So those are my updates. Back to you, Bolon.
Nice. Thank you, Dreamer. One other update, and then we can roll into some questions. But speaking of development updates, I will also announce this in Discord after the AMA and put it on Twitter and all of that good stuff as well. But you guys get to hear about it first. Tomorrow, Friday, September 26th, beginning at approximately 9 a.m. UTC, we are going to have some scheduled API downtime. It is a complete API downtime. So everything fed by the API, which is a lot of things, will be down for a couple of hours. So doing some maintenance and some updates, courtesy of Pinecone, who's always hard at work over there in the background, making everything run so smoothly without us even knowing. So he needs a little time to be able to do some work. So we will be having a complete API downtime tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. UTC. Should only be a few hours, and then we'll be back up and running. But Hubert, you can probably speak better to like what isn't impacted, but my understanding is virtually everything.
Yeah, it's pretty much everything.
Okay.
Like being able to load heroes, their states. So like it probably will be impossible to do anything with questing or with any combat content. We are trying to do it in between the tournaments, so there shouldn't be a tournament impacted by this. But yeah, it will be. I don't know. I probably just want to go touch grass for a little while while that's happening.
Come hang out with us on Discord, and like we'll just hang out and vibe, go touch grass. But yeah, I would just as Code Green said in the chat, We are having a game downtime tomorrow. Just don't. It's better. So yeah, full game downtime for a couple of hours tomorrow. Stay tuned for, like I said, I'll put that in both Discord and on Twitter just so that everybody hopefully notices. But everything's good. These are good downtimes, doing some updates, and then we'll be back up and running better than ever. So all good on that front. Awesome. I believe that is everything that we have for the updates at the moment. Something might come to us, though. We'll see what happens. But
Hubert, I got a real quick one. Thank you so much. I've got a hosted tournament today starting at the reset time. So if you want to get in there, I'm giving away a yoked buckler to the winner. So anybody who wants to get in there and try to win that, just join the tournament. Try to win it. It's in there. Go for it. Get crazy. You can do it.
Nice. And you said that's at turnover?
Yeah, the reset tonight. So you'll want to be signed up before that because it starts at reset. So 10 minutes before that.
Yep. So 5 hours and 40 minutes ish until it starts. So make sure you get in there and get signed up. That should be a lot of fun. That's awesome. Nice. Good call out. All right.
Bolon, I want to interrupt you too again. Sorry. Look how pretty this game is. Like the guy facts for families. Facts for?
I don't remember, but it wasn't that one. Facts. Where did it go?
For you. Like, yeah, I don't know, dude. Look, if you're still here, look at the screen. Look at this beautiful game. All these things are NFT connected. Deep battle system. You can't. It's so deep that we're still figuring out the best strategies in the meta, and all the classes that come and those that are live. Like, I don't know. I think sometimes all of us here that look at this every day, we forget how freaking beautiful this is and how far we've come, and the extreme potential. Look at the market and everything. People are jerking around out there. Even the AAA studios and the chains and everything, they're trying to figure it out. We're still here. We're building something amazing. We got major features coming, like probably literally weeks away, hopefully. So yeah, just, I don't know. Whenever I hear like, oh, you guys still around? I'm like, can you like wake up for a second? If you care about games, you care about Web3 gaming, and you don't see what DFK is doing, you're a liar. You don't care about Web3 gaming. So anyway, beautiful game. I'm watching this. I love the animations. I just want to make sure that we're not like that little frog boiling in a pot and forgetting just how hot it's getting, because it's getting hot in here. This is awesome. Back to you, Bolon.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no, it's always a great reminder. And this battle in particular actually is also just super pretty because it's got a bunch of different equipment, some different visages, it's a very nice color palette going on, which actually does lead us straight into our first question, and then we can circle back on more stuff as well. But it's literally such a perfect segue for our first question. Hubert, do you have thoughts on introducing additional color variations for existing equipment and visages and etc.?
For existing ones, I did not catch that part when this question was prepped earlier.
My bad.
Well, we do have the ability to add more options in terms of like dye colors. Like we only have, I think, 10 right now, but we can expand that list for sure. So as far as like being able to have there be different colors, like there's definitely a lot of expansion capability there. When it comes to like, are we going to have there be variations on the colors of equipment that already exists? I'm not sure. I mean, we could potentially do that in some cases. It does require some effort on SVD's part, and for a lot of equipment, we liked that it was kind of a unique look. So I'm not sure that we would want to do it in multiple places, but we also at some point may open up the game to like being able to dye equipment after the fact, not just like when it's minted like we have right now. So there's always options in the future for things like that to happen.
Very nice. Yeah, I want like a bright purple Excalibur. Like that would be cool. Get like a green yoked buckler as well. Just Also, yeah, thank you, Mellow Fellow. You are correct. It's all equipment. It's not visages. My bad. I realized it right after I said it. I was looking at the accessories, but there's a great variety of equipment and accessories in this battle. Yeah, exactly. It's hard to keep track. You know, there's so many customization options.
Though soon they could be visages.
That is also true. Yeah, soon you won't be able to necessarily tell just from looking at them because you'll be able to turn your equipment into permanent visages. I really love the Helms of Ascension, though. I think those turned out really, really nicely.
Yeah, shout out to SBD for that one.
Yes, always shout outs to SBD and also, you know, to Cabby and the people who do the real work, right? Just kidding. All right, let's see. Continuing on some questions. Hubert, can you give any insight into the cost of bridging heroes to the question actually says Sarandel Isles, but I'm gonna guess that we are referring to the Sundered Isles.
Yeah, so the cost there with layer 0, and it is tied to like how much gas costs on the meta side of things. And we are actually in the process of talking to them to see if there's anything that we can do to adjust that somehow. But in general, it is kind of like, what is the gas cost of like completing the transaction on the source side, or I mean on the destination side, and you know, kind of looking at not just one transaction, but kind of the history of transactions to see if, you know, there are instances where there's more gas spent than less. So I think there are some things there that we might be able to work with them to potentially make some adjustments, but I'm not 100% sure. But we are in the process of communicating with them to see what can be done, because yeah, it is, you know, the gas prices on that chain are higher, so it does kind of reflect in the bridging costs as well, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll see if we can do anything to improve that.
Nice. Thank you, sir. I did want to real quick pause and just give a shout out to everybody in chat. We've got several of our normal hangouts going on, and love to see all of you here with us pretty much every week, which we greatly appreciate. So thank you guys for being here. When next Smash Carts game nights? That's a good question. I think that's a Team Goose question. We'll have to follow up with TuneFed and Meme and all them and see if they're still smashing carts. There's another game that they were playing as game nights. Well, there's the Settlers of Catan version. Not that one. There was one, something with like beans in the name, I think. I don't remember. But we'll have to see if they're still doing game nights. Those were fun back in the day. We do have it set up now in the Discord where like anybody can set up their own like screen share channel at any voice channel at any time. So that could be really helpful for that as well. All right, Hubert. We mentioned, actually, man, we're just, the segues today are flowing. We mentioned that pretty soon you'll be able to turn your equipment into visages. Additionally, it sounds like with durability release, we are planning to include an NPC that will be able to do some enchanting. First off, can you confirm that? And second, any insight on the types of costs that will be required to do enchanting in addition to the equipment dust?
Yeah, so that is true. There will be a new NPC for enchanting, and I should say there might be NPCs that were already there that might gain new functionality potentially, but there's at least one that's new. And as far as the costs go, yeah, so it's going to be dust from the equipment plus gold is the other ingredient that we're including on costs for those.
Nice. Curious. So the question also mentioned, you know, do we foresee like divine essence or greater divine essence or runes? So obviously what we will be introducing with durability is like step 1 of enchanting, because eventually it'll be part of crafting. Do we foresee the inclusion of other ingredients in the future?
Yeah, I do think when we get to like full on crafting system setup, it's it's going to be less simple than it is going to be with right now. So yeah, we could certainly see enchantments requiring other things like potentially divine essence or runes or some other like secondary ingredients that require a combination of ingredients. Even there could be a lot of things that we do once that's kind of expanded, and we need to take into account all the different crafting professions. But for the time being, we do not have those in place, and so we're just going with gold and equipment dust.
Nice. Any thoughts on with the tournament structure rewarding early entries over later entries? For example, perhaps giving additional stone usage in battle if you enter early.
Yeah, I mean, if we gave additional stone to people that entered early, I wonder if anyone would enter after, if it's enter early, or if it's like the first 4 or first 8 get it and then the last don't. I don't know. I mean, if it is something where as long as you are within like the first hour or whatever of the sign up window, then you get it. I just imagine there would be nobody that would join once that period ended, whether it's like a count or a time frame, just because why would you want to go in with that big of a disadvantage? So if we were to do something, I don't think it'd be something like that. I wonder what could be done that would make sense and would not be like too complicated to do. And most of the ideas that come to mind are somewhat complicated and would take a little bit of work to do. So I'm not sure. I understand, the desire for people to not wait until the last second, because it does make it harder to know if like a tournament's going to run, if you're not sure, if people just wait till the very last. And then, sometimes people waiting till the very last also makes it so they think it's not going to run. And then like maybe there's like 3 people that if all 3 had joined, it would have got run. But they don't, because it doesn't look like it will. So it is certainly a problem. And I get that. I'm just not sure what would make sense really. And what would not require like a decent chunk of work to do. So, yeah, we can think about that some more though.
Nice. I appreciate it. Winston, give us a report on that first battle.
Yo, yeah, it was good battle. Hope won that one. Kind of, not quite evenly matched. I think he was had some better dudes and a little bit better strategy. But it was a good fight, I thought, had fun. Get it. And now we're doing our level 15 bout. And that one's just getting started. So unfortunately, you can't vote on this one. You missed it. You should have voted on it when we talked about it for like 5 minutes earlier. That would have been the time to do it. But yeah, we're throwing down here. We'll see how it goes. I'm already blind. This dude's already blind, so that's not great. But I think using a potion it'll nudge me right back up. All right. Yeah, that's so hopefully this one's a little bit closer, or maybe I can win this one. We'll see. But if not, like these have been good games. If I can just not mess this one up. Huh.
Nice. Circling back for just a moment, Hubert, to that last question, any thoughts on having like a scaling entry fee so you get a little bit of a discount the sooner you join?
Yeah, that would probably be a little simpler to implement than other things. I suppose that would only really work in cases where there was a dual entry fee involved. And everything we do would like complicate things, like because then we would need to track what the person paid when they entered in case we need to do a refund and stuff like that. So like the way we store and track things would need to be adjusted maybe kind of significantly in that case. So it like anything we do would be a bit of work, but that I think that would be less of a discouraging option as like the stone option that was mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. Thank you. On the topic of tournaments, another question for you. Thoughts on adding a losers bracket for major tournaments, at least? and potentially having the winner of the losers bracket come back into the upper bracket, or just a separate one that lets essentially the quickly eliminated play it out amongst themselves.
Yeah, so we did actually look into like a double elimination tournament style, even like put in the contract code the option for us to like set that as what it would be, but it's not implemented to like actually do anything if that were set differently right now. But we were looking at that and considering doing it. At the time, it just would have been too much work to like implement that with everything that was involved with just implementing tournaments in general. So we did. I will say though that with double elimination tournaments, it does extend out like the total time for a tournament to complete by kind of a lot, because you have to wait for like the winners bracket to have bouts end, and then once those end, then they can go into the loser bracket, and then like it kind of ends up being maybe like 2 to 3 rounds longer in the end, depending on how things work out. So like even I think with the traditional double elimination, like it could be where the winner of the losers bracket and the winner of the winners bracket, if the winner bracket person loses, they have to fight a second time because they haven't been eliminated twice, and so like they could be 2 separate back-to-back fights with the same person even. So it does get long, and that was a big a concern about trying to make all of that work. I think we could do it, but it would be a pretty big chunk of work to get it done.
Awesome. Yeah, I think time is really a big piece of what we just kept coming back to when we were originally talking about this topic of, how long is too long for a tournament to take. And, especially depending on how it's structured, but, especially if you get eliminated in the first round, you may want to just be done, right? You may not want to stick around. So that was a big part of it, but something that, we did talk about and is still possible. Question from chat: win paper bag Vizzy?
I mean, there is technically like a paper bag around a cardboard
I was gonna say, I
on
feel
that.
like the present, the Mrs. birthday is kind of there.
We'll see.
Switching it up here for a minute, I am going to give Hubert a little bit of a break, but don't worry, he's not off the hook for the day. But we're going to switch it up, and I'm actually going to toss this one to Dreamer to kick it off. There's several parts of this question, so I'm going to kind of try to combine it a little bit. But, we talk about how we don't talk about price, and we try not to like judge our own actions by we try not to plan actions based on how they will affect token prices or anything like that. Can we talk about like how that impact or how that balances with the fact that they are our tokens, and so our development does impact in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, I'm hoping that made sense. Do we consider ourselves to be like neutral, or how that kind of plays out?
Very broad question there, Bolon. I'm gonna just turn my camera on for this one. There we go. I'm not wearing the hat. That's okay. It's here. I'll turn a little light on. All right. So I guess we're being asked like how we view the development of the game, which has been incredible for the last couple of years and at a high speed, all things considered, with the product that we have before us going on, which I clap at and I'm proud of. And I think that our team has done great. This is all connected, right? So what we've said the whole time is here's our tokenomics plan. And, after the chain that shall not be named had their issues, we revised that. And I think we've stuck to that very, very cleanly. What we do in our tokenomics committee is we look at the data based on all of your guys' behavior on how you like the features, what they're doing, and what we can do to continue to create as healthy of an ecosystem as we can without manipulating it. For the most part, that means it's our job to try to create as much utility, balanced utility, in not only the ecosystem, but also the game itself. It's a hard thing. Sometimes we have to adjust things in the meta. Sometimes we have to adjust things in our features and cater to different needs. But if the question is like, are we oblivious to it or are we hyper focused on it? We are as balanced as we can be legally and should be as our like fiduciary duties to the players themselves as we can be. And I think we've been doing a pretty good job.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I think that's really good. And part of this question was talking about like the launch of the Sunderdials and using Joule in them. And there's a statement in it of like we completely and unilaterally changed the roadmap. And I mean, I would just say that like that is entirely untrue. And I'm sure Dreamer can expand too. But everything that we've done is absolutely been a part of our roadmap since day one. We've always intended to have PvP combat. Everything that we've built on Metis has been things that were always part of the plan to build, as well as constant, at minimum, weekly live updates in these AMAs. But Dreamer, anything you want to add on that front as well?
I think I did read the question, and I think it's also asking like with the build over there, the use of Joule over like the ecosystem specific tokens like Jade and Crystal. I guess just a little bit of a history lesson back to the reformation of tokens after the chain that shall not be named. The strategy was that Joule would be available everywhere DFK is, kind of our omnichain token, and it'll follow us through various features. However, the full realms would have their realm specific local token, and we've stayed true to that. When we got the deal to build a mini realm outside of a major feature of PvP, that's not a full realm. So if you look at the message that we gave of our use of tokens and the utility of Joule, it wasn't a decision to use Joule. That decision was made before we even thought of working with Metis. It's not a full realm, therefore it's Joule. It's not in Crystalville, therefore it's not Crystal. It's not in Serendale, therefore it's not Jade. So we've tried really hard to be transparent with intent and be consistent with what we've communicated. So yeah, that's been our strategy. We're trying to be as transparent each week on that, stay true to it, but I don't see a shift in strategy or roadmap there. We wanted gameplay, we got that. We started with PvE. We wanted competitive gameplay, we got that. That's PvP. Maybe we didn't know exactly where things would be and in what timing they would come out and how they would look. But dang, we've done a really good job, especially if you saw behind the scenes, everything we need to do to make these things happen. I'm proud of what we've done so far. And for anybody that feels like we've shifted dramatically, I'd be interested to learn more, because I would like to adjust going forward. But, weekly, we've been very transparent and doing our best to keep that vision going. And we're still going. We have a lot more to do. So if we can do better in any way, let us know. But otherwise, we're going to keep going on these weekly AMAs, taking questions, being transparent, and trying to build that long-term vision.
Nice. Thank you, Dreamer. Very much appreciated. Switching back over to you, Hubert, for a minute. Again, with the phenomenal segues. Speaking of PvP, once all of our classes are available in the combat engine, do we believe that a team of like all basic classes, so for example, warrior, archer, priest, would stand a chance against a team of like a dragoon, spellbow, and sage? How are we looking at the difference between basic classes and advanced and above classes, and coming at that from a balanced perspective?
Yeah, that's a good question. So with the advanced classes as we've been designing them, we are aware that they do have higher stat growth, and we don't want to make their skills like like the multipliers on them be even higher than what you'd see on like a basic class, because I think the stats already are going to contribute to them just being more impactful in general. So we are trying to keep things balanced in that regard, where we're not necessarily making any given advanced skill like just by virtue of it being an advanced skill is much higher impact. They do tend to have like a lot more strategy tied to them if you look at like the summoner class and all the different combos you can do with it. But will that mean like if you have 3 basic classes versus 3 advanced or higher classes, which that list I think those are all actually elite classes.
I think they are, yeah.
Like maybe it would be really hard for that to be successful. So I think when it comes to PvP, we're going to need to look at potentially having there be limits on how many advanced classes you can have, kind of like how we have like the trait score type of thing. There could be like a class score type of thing that we could add to say, okay, if you want to bring an elite, then you're going to need to bring 2 basics, or something like that. But I would expect we'd see people kind of shift to, at least in competitive play, to bring whatever the best is for the allowed category. When it comes to PvE, there will be content like there is right now that basic classes are able to achieve. But I would like to get to a point where we have like very, very, very challenging content where you really need to bring the best of the best to have a chance to succeed. And there would just be that would be for those players. They can do that content. Players that are just joining in and don't want to invest in like the higher tier of classes, have content for them to do too, and kind of just have a scale of like, okay, if you want to do this type of content, you're going to need to bring better stuff, better equipment, better heroes. But as far as like, I think there would always be a place for a basic class to sit next to an advanced class, though. And like, as far as what they can do, they all have their own kind of capabilities, and they should complement each other in a lot of ways. So I think there will always be kind of a place where maybe a knight and a sage work really well together for some reason. The meta shouldn't preclude being able to use basic classes, I wouldn't think, but it is just increasing the dynamic, the range of stats and whatnot will be changing. So that will kind of adjust things, and we'll have to kind of adjust things along with it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think too, like, first and foremost, team composition is so important, right? So, you might have 3 elite classes, but if they just don't mesh well together, it may not really be as much of an advantage. But even aside from that, there's so many other potential equalizing, or at least somewhat equalizing factors between like rarity and stat growth and traits. So you might have a common dragoon, and yeah, because it's a dragoon, it's got higher stat growth, but you've got a mythic knight with 2 exalted traits. Like there's just so many other pieces of it. Not to mention, at that point, we also have subclasses in the mix as well. Like I think it's hard to look at it in such a vacuum of like 3 basic versus 3 elite classes, because there's just so many other pieces of the game, right?
Maybe I'll add to a little bit. I think what we're thinking of right now is in an extreme, like best of the best scenario, do a bunch of commons have a chance, or common classes, base classes. And although we've just talked about that, I won't add more, because I think all the comments have been great. If we zoom out a little bit, you as the player and the commander, do you have need in the combat system with the things that we'll be putting out for classes that aren't all the top tier and most rare? Absolutely. There's so much we can do there. So when you think of like the most competitive tip of the iceberg that we're talking about now, okay, but let's zoom out. We might have a season where some of the tournaments are limited only to certain classes or ban other classes. And we might have only like a, base level, and maybe you have to like win a bunch of the base level tournaments to get to the next, where even the others are allowed. Now, none of this has been decided. It's not the plan, because we're so far away from having all these. But when we have so many different types of classes and so many different levels, we can get very creative and you as the commander utilizing to the full extent all of the different classes in different ways within the game. That's what makes it so fun. When you look at like the peak performance and like who is the best commander with the best heroes and the all-star tournament, yeah, like we can have this discussion here where we're kind of, you know, guessing this, that, or the other. But the reality is the plan is for no class left behind. There is a purpose for each class and battle system, and it can be fun, and it can be a counter, or it can be a form of meta. It can be situational. And yeah, likely a lot of the more rare classes may be used more. But the goal that we've been trying to do all along, if you haven't noticed, is each class that comes out hopefully doesn't completely like trump a previous one. And there's always a purpose out there. The more that get out there, the longer we get, the further we get down the road, just the more creative we can get with it and keep it fun and engaging and entertaining. So you as a commander looking at, you know, can I dump any of these base classes? Not if we do our job right. You know, you should be able to love and appreciate, you know, each one of them. But if it's like, what is the most competitive to take down my opponent that has the best team? Well, you'll probably have to have some counters, and you probably have to have some of the best stuff out there and the most rare. So hopefully that adds to that like zoom out vision of the commander's arsenal and their like legion being diversified to be able to participate in different forms of the game.
Most definitely, yeah. I will mention real quick that this is actually our final submitted question for today. We got a couple minutes, so if you have anything if you have anything you want to drop in chat, we can pull a question or two, and then we'll go into our wrap up. If not, we'll just jump into our wrap up. We're right about that time anyway, so it's working out beautifully. But I did want to just give a shout out to DFK Elite for dropping the real alpha in the chat that Monk is always going to be the best team. Isn't that right, Hubert?
Always.
That's actually, we had to introduce the all unique classes mechanic specifically because Monk. I mean, you know, it was just going to run away with everything. So for anybody who doesn't know, Monk is Hubert's favorite class. So just giving him a hard time. As far as season 2 goes, when season 2, I assume you mean season 2 of PvP tournaments. If not, I don't know what you mean. We don't have a set date yet. So we do have the off-season tournaments going. We have put a little bit of thought into season 2, but we still have a lot of details and everything that we want to work out to make season 2 as great as it can be. So we are also looking forward to season 2, but we aren't wanting to rush it either. We want to make sure that it is as good as we can make it. So in the meantime, make sure that you enjoy those off-season tournaments and stay tuned for more details on that front. Let's see. Oh God. Oh man. Oh, mellow fellow. Whew. Sometime after we get through the first season of Pets. The question from Mellow Fellow is when next season of Pets, but we got to get the first season done anyway. Yeah, that was a good shout out though. That was nice. I didn't see that one coming. All right, with that, we are going to go into our wrap up because I'm now scared to read any other comments. But as a reminder, I mentioned earlier, I will put this in Discord and on Twitter, but tomorrow, Friday, September 26th, starting at roughly 9 a.m. UTC, we are going to have pretty much an entire game downtime that is scheduled. It'll last a few hours. Everything will be back up and normal. Obviously, all of your assets and everything are completely safe. That is the beauty of blockchain. Anything that like you have running or anything like that will be fine. If you have expeditions going or anything like that, you just won't be able to like properly claim them during, because part of it will work, but then part of it from the API end won't. So a couple of hours of downtime. Come hang out with us in Discord. Go outside and touch grass. Do whatever you want, but it'll only be a couple hours and then we'll be back up and running. So make sure that you plan accordingly for all of your DFK needs. outside of that, thank you everybody who has come and hung out with us in the audience. This has been a really fun chat week. Thank you to Winston, Hubert, and Dreamer for coming up here on stage with me. And special shout out, as always, to those who do ask questions for us to answer every week. As always, you can submit your questions in the AMA questions channel in Discord. You also have a little bit longer to submit your questions at the talk.defykingdoms.com website, but we are going to be sunsetting that website for the time being and using Discord exclusively for our question gathering. But yeah, thank you all for being here. Always a great time. I am going to go over to Dreamer for any final thoughts.
Oh man, I was typing something else. And I won't turn the camera on. I already took my shirt off. Sorry, everybody. It's just getting hot. But thank you for the questions. Thanks for the interaction in chat. And I am the B word. I'm excited because we're still here. We're building good stuff.
They might want you to turn your camera on more now.
No, it's not now. But you could see the link in my bio for my OnlyFans if you want. Passing it on to the next.
Oh man, that Hubert with the toddler talk at the beginning and Dreamer with this talk at the end. Just ignore everything in the middle. This has been great. Off-season Cucumber Dale, what's going on? Any final thoughts?
I don't have an OnlyFans, guys. Sorry.
But what flies by your house?
Hapatas.
Thank you.
So I am also B word on the project. We are, still getting closer on pet combat bonuses, durability, enchanting, like all of that's coming together pretty well. We are, still in those final phases of finding bugs and squashing them and just getting the release ready for everything. When we do release it is going to be a very large upgrade to so many of the contracts that we'll probably have, like tomorrow, kind of a period of time where most content is going to be unavailable because we'll have to be pausing a lot of contracts so that nothing weird happens as we upgrade things, because I think we have, I don't know what the number is at this point, but it's like 180 files or something on the Solidity side for how many things are going to be updated with durability. It impacts so many different things in so many different ways that it's going to be a pretty big shift. So I'm looking forward to seeing that come to completion. That kind of closes off, I think, the last major piece of like what was missing with equipment since we've released it. So that's going to be really cool to see. And I think it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for players as they, look into enchanting, and it also is going to kind of shift the game a lot, where now your equipment NFTs are going to have, some skin in the game. So I'm looking forward to seeing how all that plays out. And then we still have a lot of other things we're working on, and just planning for the future. So pass it back to you, Bolon.
Thank you, good sir Hubert. Last but not least, we're going to turn it over to Winston. I don't know. I do know. I assume that Hope is not joining us, so I'm going to turn it over to you to wrap us up today.
All right. Yeah, and you are correct. He did write a little message for me, though, so I will read that in just a moment here. I thought I'd take a second to suggest that. What's that?
To tell us about your OnlyFans?
Yeah, if that's what you guys want to know about. I mean, it's mostly just like, I'm just like watching TV on it. So if that's what you're into, you can come watch TV with me. No, I was just gonna suggest that everybody check out the limited series of tournaments I'm gonna be doing here. This is the first one in the group. These are actually all gonna be limited, so this series is gonna be level 10 specifically. I'm actually restricting this at the maximum individual trait score of 3. So what that means is heroes, if you can see this, I don't know if I need to explain it too much, but Basic is 0 points, advanced is 1 point, elite is 2, and exalted is going to be 3. So a player could bring one hero with an exalted trait, or a hero with an elite trait and an advanced trait, and so on and so on and so on. So I'm hoping that kind of limits them a little bit in the sense that some players can still be competitive with maybe one of their stronger heroes without bringing 3, really powerful heroes. And then the folks who are kind of trying to punch above their weight might have a better shot at it. It might be a little bit more even. Also, like I said, there's a Bockler here going to someone. This is actually a pretty good one. 13% increase to block chance, and then 6% riposte, and then spell block chance is increased. And remind me, Hubert, I think that's just base. I think 15 block damage is base for this. Putting you on the spot.
I think that actually should say plus on it, not just there. So it should add to the base reduction of the block.
Oh, sorry, no. I just mean this is the lowest.
Oh, that's what you're asking.
That you can get. Sorry.
Yes, I did spot kind of I think that's a bug.
The crowd says 15 is the lowest. So,
yes.
Thank you, Mellow Fellow. So yeah, this one's you're gonna get a yoked Bockler if you win, and then some stamina potions and health vials and divine essence, and then on the way down, even if you lose right off the top, you're still gonna get a little something there. So check it out. Swayze's Ghost is gonna be there. I'll be there. I'm also going to keep track of how these all go, and it'll just be kind of a fun thing to check out at the end of the series. So please do consider joining. And now I'm going to read what Hope said. Hope said, going to keep it simple this week, and I just want to thank the team for the consistent work making such a great and fun game, and looking forward a lot more to things to shake up the PvP scene. As someone who has never played Pokemon or Hearthstone, DFK is a game I didn't know I needed. Thank you for the amazing journey, and I am super bullish.
Bullish.
Thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week.
DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.